Rams versus 49ers, the NFC Conference Championship. A Super Bowl berth is on the line. The Rams 3.5-point favorites. The over-under 46 points. I have my favorite player prop, spread over-under pick, and same-game parlay coming your guys' way. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. And right now, let's get on into it. If you are new to the Calling Our Shot channel, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. We appreciate it. Trying to grind towards 22,000 subscribers. We appreciate all the people that have joined the community. Now, we are known for player props over here. It's no secret. You can see my record. A lot better at player props and spreads over-unders, but still, we're going to give you our spread over-under picks. Now, last week, the divisional round, we were 3-3 overall, 3-1 on player props, 0-2 on spreads and over-unders. We'll have a completely separate video for Bengals versus Chiefs in case you're interested in my picks for that one. Another player prop, spread pick, and same-game parlay in that video. Last, if you want to hear us talk about these games a little bit more in depth, you can check out our weekly podcast. Not only the podcast, but also the Bengals and Chiefs video will be linked down below once they are both live. So definitely go check them out. Let's get into my favorite player prop of this game. Drum roll, please. We're going with Jimmy Garoppolo. Over 0.5 interceptions, minus 140 on Caesars. Some books have this as a yes or no option. We're just taking the yes for Jimmy Garoppolo to throw an interception. Now, I don't really like rooting against Garoppolo, and I think he does play decently here, but moral of the story is that the Rams defense is legit and they are elite. And then we look at Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a guy that throws it in between the numbers, not a guy that's going to throw it outside. And so he's just asking for just a pass over the middle to get tipped by Aaron Donald or someone else, and it'll be intercepted by a Rams defensive player. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown an interception in 4 straight games, and he has thrown an interception in 10 of his last 15 games. So a pretty good track record. And look, I know the 49ers want to run the ball a ton, but the Rams are going to make them pass it. Now, even last week when you saw them run the ball and their offense was very stagnant, he only attempted 19 passes. Well, still managed to get the job done, throwing an interception. Now, the books have the over-under for pass attempts set at 30.5. Those lines are very, very sharp. You normally see them get pretty close. Now, last week they wouldn't have been even remotely close, but normally they're pretty good on those. So if we see close to 25 to 35 pass attempts, somewhere in that window for Garoppolo, I have faith he can throw an interception. Now, we do have, when we talk about it, the 7 straight QBs to face the Rams have thrown an interception. If we look at all the QBs that have faced them this season, 19 starting QBs, well, 14 of them have thrown an interception. This defense and secondary is elite, obviously, like we've been talking about. Obviously, with Jalen Ramsey, but the rest of the defense does not get enough credit than they deserve. Now, Jimmy G, these teams played, the last week of the regular season? Jimmy G, 2 interceptions in that game. Now, he did not throw an interception versus them earlier this season, but yet again, that was on 19 pass attempts. I expect him to throw a little bit more today. But look, in his career, when he's played on the road against the Rams today, thrown an interception in all 3 of those games, thrown 2+ interceptions in 2 of those 3. So I'll root for a Jimmy G interception on Sunday. I think it's going to happen, and we'll take it. Jimmy G to throw an interception, minus 140. Fine with laying the juice on that one. Now let's move on to my over-under pick. Now, if you wanted a spread pick, I talked about on the podcast, really like the 49ers plus the 3.5 points. Been picking against them lately. I'll ride with them today. But my over-under pick that I'm more confident in is the under 46 points, minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, we'll look at what we've already talked about. Well, obviously, the Rams defense is elite. Great secondary. Likely will force this 49ers defense into some 3rd and longs. And I think they'll be able to get them off the field. And plus, you look at the 49ers. They want to run the ball, chew the clock. Now, on the other side of the field, 49ers defense has been playing ridiculous. They obviously shut down the Cowboys in Wild Card Weekend. Last week, they made Aaron Rodgers look human. I mean, that team scored only 10 points. Granted, the weather was a little bit sketchy, but still only 10 points, and 7 of them came on the first drive. They really, after that opening drive, A.J. Dillon touchdown, they just clamped them up, and they made a lot of adjustments, and Rodgers and the offense could not adapt to it. Now, we look at it. In 5 games under Coach Shanahan for the 49ers, they've gone under in 3 of them. Now, the 2 games they went over, Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, and of course, the game a couple years back against Aaron Rodgers when they dropped like 30 points in the first half against them. It was like 37-20. Packers couldn't stop the run at all. Now, I expect both of these defenses to be ready to go, and there's really not much the opposing team can throw at them. Like, these teams, it's not like they don't ever see each other. They see each other twice a year, and there's really not a lot of secret plays that you might have saved the whole season long just to get to this point. Now, obviously, these teams have a track record against each other. Look at the Rams. They like to establish the run. Going to be hard to do that against the 49ers, who currently allow the 6th fewest rushing yards per game and rank 2nd in Football Outsiders DVOA rushing defense metric. Now, Stafford didn't deal with a ton of pressure last week against the Bucs, although the Bucs defense didn't play all that well. You saw the Rams offense make some crucial mistakes. I think they'll sharpen that up, but Rodgers still, you look at Aaron Rodgers, he struggled with this 49ers pass rush and their defense and the coverage that they play. Could see that same thing happen in the past 4 matchups between these 2 teams. They've gone under in 3 of them. The one they went over was that last final Week 18 game. And really, you saw the 49ers have to throw it a little bit more. Still running the ball, but second half, they had to score a ton of points to get back into that game, down 17-0 at halftime. Don't see that happening. I see both teams, I see a final score around 20 to 23 points here. Both teams have very reliable kickers when you think about it, with Matt Gay, obviously, and Robbie Gould, who has never missed a field goal in the postseason. He's going to be jinxed like heck in this game by the announcers, but still, we look at both these two teams. Like, you look at the 49ers, they're going to make them, obviously not, they're probably going to try to triple team Cooper Kupp. Say, you know what, someone else has got to beat us. And while I have been picking Odell Beckham Jr.'s over in terms of receiving yards, don't hate that play today, but still I expect it to be a little bit harder to move the ball in this 49ers defense, which likes to rush only 4 guys with Nick Bosa and the crew coming at you. And they were, for us, really kind of confusing Tom Brady, putting him on the ground too, making him bleed too. It was a ridiculous, it was a great game plan by well, that's the Rams defense. I'm talking about the 49ers defense. But regardless, both these two defenses are elite, and I expect them to be able to get at the quarterback, sack him, ruin some drives, maybe some holding penalties, and we could see some drives that might have been, on the road, going towards the points, not end up with some points. So expect both teams to be a little bit conservative, running the ball, and it's going to be tough to run, tough sledding in the trenches against both these two defenses. So I'll take the under 46 points. Then moving on to my last play, a same game parlay dart throw. Taking George Kittle and Van Jefferson anytime touchdowns. That's all we want. Now you could add some lines in. And when you look at adding same game parlay lines, we're doing this on FanDuel. If you don't have a FanDuel account and you want to use our sign up link, it is linked down below, dimers.com/COS. Definitely go check it out for some risk-free bonuses. But look, when you look at making a same-game parlay, I like to do conservative ones, but it's hard to do conservative ones in the playoffs when the lines are super sharp, especially for a game that I expect to go under. Now, I lean these two guys. Now, George Kittle, he's been kind of quiet this postseason. The first game against Cowboys did absolutely nothing. Then the second game against the Packers did better, like 4 catches for 63 yards. Still hasn't had a touchdown. Like I said, I expect this Rams defense to kind of hone in on that, stopping that run with Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell. George Kittle, he might get into the end zone. It's a dart throw in itself, but obviously Jimmy G doesn't have a lot of weapons, doesn't have a lot of trust in a lot of those guys. Deebo Samuel obviously trusted, but Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings and all of that crew, George Kittle is most trusted guy in the red zone. I could see that happening. Now we look at Van Jefferson on the other side of the coin. We look at last week, the 49ers defense against Davante Adams. They let him get a couple of yards on that first drive, ended up with like 90, still staying under his regular total. But look, when they got near the red zone, it was, hey, you're going to have to score without Davante Adams. And I could see them doing that to Cooper Kupp this week and saying, you know what, someone else has got to beat us. So you look at the other side, Tyler Higbee, don't love the matchup. 49ers with Fred Warner, one of the best at eliminating tight ends. So he might have a trouble scoring. And then you got OBJ and Van Jefferson on the field. Just going to go with Van Jefferson for a little bit of value here. There's 2 legs plus 971, I believe. So I like the value we're getting here. Not throwing a full unit on it, obviously, but you could see Van Jefferson sneaking into the end zone. Maybe even hits it over for receiving yards. Definitely go check that one out. A guy that's one play could easily hit this over, but it's obviously a tough matchup versus the 49ers. So that is all we're rolling with. This total gut call. Don't put a full unit on a play like this. It's totally unpredictable and hard to really project, but I do like Van Jefferson and George Kittle to get into the end zone. So that's what we're going to ride with for the Rams versus 49ers NFC Conference Championship game. If you want to check out our Bengals versus Chiefs best bets, you can check it out. It's linked on the screen. It should be live by the time you're watching this video, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Good luck this Sunday. Let's have a great weekend. Let's have a good one because we only got one more game in the Super Bowl after this one. So hopefully we get some great games like we got last weekend on the divisional round. This has been Austin, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.